Hello, painters. Today we're going to talk about a new project, kind of a middle-sized project. It's not a big project. It's not a one-day activity. Probably take us about 3 days, and it is called the Monochromatic Scapes painting. You're going to be painting, well, it could be a cityscape, could be a landscape, could be a seascape. Anytime you have like an expanse of land that you're drawing or painting, we call it a scape. So that's what you're going to be doing, but how do we do this? Well, let's take a look first of all where this is in your virtual sketchbook. You'll see this here. It says Monochromatic Scapes in Tempera, and it's worth 100 points. And what you're going to be doing is drawing either some land or city or sea, and having at least 5 different sections or 5 different colors or values to kind of create this sense of depth. And we're going to talk more about it in a second, but that's the big project, just to give you, just a heads up, just a little warm up as far as what we're doing. So let's take another look at this and look at a quick presentation. 1 second to bring this up. Suppose I can share it this way. Here we go. Make sure you guys can see this. And let's go back to the beginning. All right, Monochromatic Scapes, here we go. First of all, this is just like a warm-up exercise, to be honest, for the big project that we do, which is going to be doing this same kind of thing, but kind of on steroids, a little more serious. We're going to do it with a portrait. So doing a scape, not that difficult. A portrait, it's going to take a little more time. It's going to be a bit more demanding of your precision to make it look like a real person's face. But your task here is to create a cityscape, a landscape, or even a seascape that is monochromatic. And what this is called is atmospheric perspective. Here's the deal. When you look out over a mountain range or you look out over a city, you may or may not realize this, but things get lighter in the distance. And the main reason is it's our atmosphere and the stuff in our atmosphere. This would be on a rainy day, this would be obvious, or a foggy day or a snowy day. Yes, there's lots of stuff in the way that just makes things look lighter in the distance, right? But even on a clear day, there's dust in our atmosphere, and that dust makes things in the distance look kind of diminished, kind of smaller, lighter, okay? So some people call this aerial perspective because it has to do with the air, in front of you. But it just limits our sight at different distances. So here are some actual photographs where you can see this happening, okay? Photographs from a camera. It's just how we see things. It's how the camera sees things. Things in the distance are lighter. Things up close are going to be darker. So whether it's a graphic image on a computer, whether it's a photograph, this is how our world works, okay? So I'm going to show you some images for, well, they're actually tempera paintings. Same thing you guys are doing, but these go from really simple to more difficult. And part of this project, you're all going to do it, and you're all going to get hopefully 100 points. But if you do something cheesy like this example here, and you're done in a half an hour, I'm not going to give you 100 points. I'll give you completion points, like this would earn you 70. Great, here you go, Mr. Linderman, I did it for you. I just want to see. If you just want a C, you could do that. This one's slightly better. But what's happening here? Well, someone took the color red and the color white, and they made some tints back here. I think you would agree, just like the tints you made by adding white to a color. This looks like the pure red hue here. But in the foreground up front here, you can see that they added black and they made a shade of red. So we get more of a maroon color or a really dark red. You could even use black. You could even use white to put a moon or sun in the sky. But I am looking for 5 different stages. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this has 6. So that's one thing that's going to help you is the more layers you do, the more your grade will go up. If you just did the minimum 5, come on. Or if you just did 4 or 3, I mean, that would not work. So this one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different values of green. It's a little better, but look, come on, let's get to the good ones. It's a little better. Ooh, that one's kind of cool. Although it just has 1, 2, 3, 4 different layers or 4 different values, 4 different shades. I'm looking for something that has at least 5, like this. This one's a little messy, but I like that it has more details. This one's interesting. I like that it looks like it has some snow. So that's kind of cool. Nice touch there. Ooh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 layers. The more layers, the better. To me, this one's a little repetitive. I wish there was some more variety, like a really tall building or some different types of architecture. But that one's good. That one I'd probably give a 90 out of 100. They did it. Lots of layers. Ooh, this one's cool. It's got snow. It's got some variety, different colors. So, well, this one's interesting. The hills are all a little different. Lots of different layers. So I think you get the idea. With this one, an artist would have used green. And I'd like to see that pure green if you're using green, or a pure blue, the pure hue, they call it HUE, right? The pure color without any, white or black added. But as you can see here, there are tints and there are shades. Whoa, we've got a person with this one. Interesting. Oh, look at this. So these are getting better. These are getting closer to like 95%. Yeah, this would definitely be an A. This is an A. There's variety, there's different, values, lights and darks. They're mixing it up here. They're thinking, they're trying. Whoa, this one's really getting good. Lots of different layers. Look at that. So these are definite A's for sure. Okay. People are really, you can see the work in this. This was not done in a half an hour. This took more time. Now these next few versions, these are actually professionals. So yes, they would all be A's, but look at how many layers. Look at the details. Look at the variety of shapes and things happening. This one's probably done on a computer, but that's something you might do. So if you're not sure what to do yet, start to think and look. Do I want to do like a landscape, a cityscape? Do I want to do a mountainscape in the background? What details am I going to add? How am I going to put some time and effort in on this? Wow, this has a river going through it, birds, but it's your project essentially. So how do we do this? Let me just break it down. First of all, find some images. Yes, you could conjure them up in your mind. And if you're an artist, maybe you can draw the silhouettes of good buildings. Maybe you want to find some pictures. So you could go online and find a picture of a tree or something like this, a simple clip art of a tree, because we're not going to draw, tons of details like bark on the trees and tons of individual leaves. I'm thinking more silhouettes, like simple shapes. Once you've got your idea, whether it's buildings or sailboat or mountains, and you've gathered some images, first do a sketch in your sketchbook. And that's really what the second half of class is today, is just sketching it out, taking your ideas, refining it. I'll be helping you out, make it look as good as it can. Then start to draw it out on your good paper, okay? I'll give you a good piece of paper for doing this. In fact, not on this one, I take it back. For this one, let's just do it in your sketchbook. Or if you need paper, I'll give you some 9x12, pretty good drawing paper in class that's thick enough to support this tempera paint. But draw it all out. Well, I take that back. Maybe you don't want to draw it all out, because what if you were painting trees in this scene and then you had to paint the sky and then you went right over your tree? You might want to draw it all out, but if you're thinking forward, you might not. For example, you might just want to paint the sky first because you're going to be putting a tree on top of that sky and you'll have to redraw it. One thing I would do is pre-mix some paints. Let's say you already know, I want to do 7 colors. Well, white could be in there, and black could be in there, but maybe you're going with a green, for example. You could have a very light green, middle greens, dark green. You could pre-mix all those if you bring containers in, or if you have some containers at home. That way, if you have to fix a mistake or you drip or something, you don't need an eraser. Your eraser or your fix would be let it dry and then go back to the exact same color and just paint over it. Because these colors are opaque, you can go right over the top, not transparent, they're opaque. But But then what you want to do is go kind of in order. I would go from light to dark, from the background to the foreground, and slowly paint each one. Maybe get all of your layers in first and then put your details in. I mean, you could have put this tree in earlier, but could you imagine painting that lightest green, that almost yellow green, in and around all those other parts? No. Best thing to do would be to do all the main stuff first. And then, since you've already pre-mixed your colors, then drop in like one tree, then drop in another, and then drop in another. Notice how those trees layer over the top of each other. Okay, that would be near impossible to paint the background now. Like, put the background in first and then keep coming forward in your scene. That's typically how landscape painters paint. Background moving forward to the foreground. And then you could add other little details. Look at how the grass has come in here to add even more details. That's why it's nice to have those pre-mixed colors. So, and in this case, for the sun or moon, we have white. I think that looks pretty cool. So hopefully you've wrapped your head around how to do this. This is the Monochromatics Scapes project. It's worth 100 points. Do the best you can, and I'm going to be here every step of the way to guide you. See ya.